A 15-year-old boy took a bus to meet his online best friend, but when he arrived, the account didn't exist. This is the story of Tyler, a 15-year-old from a small town outside Nashville, Tennessee, the kind of place where Friday nights meant high school football and everybody knew everybody else's business, where from the outside everything looked fine, normal, quiet. But inside a beige ranch house on Clover Creek Road, Tyler had been slowly fading for almost 2 years. Not physically, not in any way you could point to, but the kid who used to spend summers building model rockets with his older brother and staying up late watching baseball with his grandpa, that kid had gone somewhere, and in his place was a version of Tyler who only came alive after dark, in the blue glow of a monitor, whispering into a headset like it was the only confessional he trusted. His parents hadn't split up dramatically. There was no single explosion, just a slow erosion, 2 people growing apart in the same house until one night his dad packed a duffel bag and the silence became permanent. His mom held everything together with coupons and coffee and sheer willpower. His older brother, Jordan, had gone off to college in Atlanta and called when he remembered. Tyler had a roof, a bed, food, everything a kid was supposed to need. But need and loneliness aren't the same equation. They never have been. It started the way it almost always does, not with a bang. With a Tuesday afternoon and nothing better to do, Tyler had played Roblox casually since 6th grade, nothing serious, just something to fill the space between school and sleep. But one rainy September evening, he wandered into a roleplay server and ended up in a building competition with a user named at Phantom Rex 77. Rex said he was 16, from Austin, Texas. He was immediately, almost magnetically likable, quick with jokes, never trying too hard. He had builds in the game that looked like architecture, actual structures, layered and detailed, the kind of thing that made other players stop and stare. And he had a way of talking to Tyler like Tyler's opinions actually mattered. Like, what Tyler thought about music or sports or his day at school was genuinely interesting information to someone. They played for 5 hours that first night. Tyler went to bed at 8 a.m. and woke up the next morning already thinking about logging back in. Within 3 weeks, they'd moved to Discord. Within 6 weeks, they had a private server, just the 2 of them with channels they'd named together. #real-talk. #late-night. #r-songs. Rex started sending voice messages before Tyler even woke up for school, low energy and funny, like a best friend leaving a rambling voicemail. Tyler started keeping his phone face up on his desk during class just in case a notification came through. His mom noticed the headphones. She noticed the closed door. She asked once, "Who are you always talking to?" And Tyler said, "Just a friend from the game," and she nodded because she was tired and because it seemed harmless enough. Gaming friends were normal now. She'd read that somewhere. It was November when Rex first brought up meeting in person. "Bro, we should actually link up. I feel like I know you better than people I've known my whole life." "That's kind of crazy, right?" Tyler laughed. "Yeah, maybe someday." But Rex kept returning to it, gently, patiently. The way water doesn't smash through rock, it just keeps moving until the rock isn't there anymore. "There's a gaming expo in Atlanta in February. I could drive up, you could take the bus down. From Nashville, it's like 3 hours. We could finally play side by side instead of through a screen." Atlanta. Tyler had family in Atlanta. His brother Jordan was in Atlanta. He started looking it up at night: the convention, the venue, the Greyhound routes, the hotels near the convention center. He told himself he was just looking, just curious. The way you tell yourself you're just window shopping before you buy the thing. By December, the idea wasn't something he was considering. It was something he was planning. He didn't steal. Tyler was careful, methodical, even in a way that should have alarmed him if he'd been paying attention to himself. He sold his model rocket collection, 6 years of kits, some of them built with his grandfather before grandpa's hands got too shaky. He listed them on eBay one by one and watched them disappear into brown shipping boxes. He told himself he'd rebuild the collection someday. He saved $290 in 8 weeks. He told Rex about every step, and Rex every single time said exactly the right thing. Dude, you're actually doing it. We're actually going to meet. This is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to you, I swear. Real life, Tyler. This is real life now, real life. That phrase had weight when Rex said it, because somehow the Discord server had started to feel more real than school, more real than the dinner table, more real than anything Tyler touched. With his actual hands, the Friday morning of the convention weekend, Tyler told his mom he was visiting Jordan in Atlanta, that Jordan had invited him, that they talked about it. His mom texted Jordan. Jordan's phone was dead. She assumed she'd catch him later and that everything was fine. Tyler took the AM Greyhound out of Nashville. He had his backpack, his phone charger, his $290 in a zippered pocket. He had his headphones in, listening to the playlist he and Rex had built track by track over 4 months of late nights. When the bus pulled into Atlanta, he texted Rex immediately, "I'm here. Bus station. Where do we meet?" The reply came back in under a minute. Convention center lobby. Main entrance. "I'm already inside. Come find me." "This is actually happening, bro." Tyler grabbed an Uber. He watched downtown Atlanta slide past the windows, the glass towers, the February sky, the city moving fast and indifferent around him, and he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Like things were about to get better. Like he had done something brave. He walked into the convention center lobby. He looked around at the crowds, the badges, the noise. Nobody was looking for him. He texted Rex, "I'm at the main entrance. Where are you?" "Read receipts show delivered." Not read. He waited 5 minutes, then 10. He found a bench near the entrance and sat down with his backpack on his lap and texted again. 15 minutes, 20. Then the messages showed a single gray check. The delivered confirmation vanished. Tyler had been blocked. He opened Discord with hands that had started to shake. The private server #real-talk, #late-night, #our-songs was gone. Completely deleted. Like it had never existed. At Phantom Rex 77's profile returned a single message. "This user does not exist." Tyler sat on that bench for 90 minutes. He didn't move. He barely blinked. He just started going back through everything, every conversation, every voice message, every moment that had felt so certain and warm and real, and he started finding the holes. Rex had never once agreed to a video call. There was always an excuse. Bad connection, camera broken, roommate in the background. Rex had known the name of Tyler's middle school, his mom's job, his brother's college, the model rocket he was most proud of. Rex had never once mentioned his own school by name, never offered a last name, never sent a photo that Tyler hadn't asked for 3 separate times only to be redirected. Tyler opened Roblox and searched at Phantom Rex 77. The account had been created in August. 6 weeks before they met. It had been permanently deleted 14 minutes ago. He called his mom from a corner of the lobby bathroom. When she heard his voice, she knew. She didn't need the full sentence. Moms carry a frequency that fear travels on, and she was already pulling on her coat as Tyler managed to say, "Mom, I'm in Atlanta. Something happened. I need you." She drove 3 hours in February rain. She didn't yell. She didn't say a single word of blame the whole drive home, which somehow hit harder than yelling would have. Somewhere in Tennessee, at a stoplight outside Murfreesboro, she reached across the center console and grabbed his hand. And Tyler cried in a way he hadn't since he was 9 years old at his grandpa's funeral. When they got home just before midnight, she made them both tea. She sat across from Tyler at the kitchen table, the same table where he'd eaten 1,000 quiet dinners, and she said, "Tell me everything. Not just tonight, everything." He talked until almost 3 in the morning. The investigation, because there was one, Once Tyler's mom contacted Nashville PD and they uncovered something that made Tyler feel cold in a way weather never had. At Phantom Rex 77 was not a 16-year-old from Austin. The account and associated IP addresses trace back to a man in his 40s who had been operating similar personas across Roblox, Discord, and 2 other gaming platforms for at least 4 years. He targeted boys between 13 and 17, specifically boys in emotionally vulnerable situations, divorce, absent parents, social isolation. He was methodical. He built trust slowly. He collected personal details the way some people collect baseball cards. He'd been reported on previous platforms, but his accounts always disappeared before investigators could establish enough for charges. Investigators believe Tyler was the 12th kid he had targeted this way. Tyler was the 3rd to actually board transportation, the other 2 had gotten into cars at meeting points. Their cases were still open. The FBI agent who came to their house, a quiet, direct man named Agent Dennis Pryor from the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, sat at that same kitchen table and looked at Tyler with something that wasn't pity. It was something steadier than that. "You sitting in that lobby instead of getting into a vehicle," Pryor said carefully, "may be the most important thing that's ever happened to you. And I need you to understand that fully." Tyler thought about the Uber he'd taken from the bus station, how he'd handed a stranger his location without a second thought. He likely saw something that made him abort. Pryor continued, "Security, personnel, a camera angle he wasn't comfortable with. We may never know the specific reason. But Tyler, you walked out of that building. I need you to hold on to that." The months after were difficult in ways Tyler hadn't predicted, not because of the fear, though the fear was real, but because of the grief. Because Tyler had to sit with the knowledge that 4 months of what had felt like the most genuine friendship of his life had been completely constructed. Every laugh, every voice message, every moment where Rex had said exactly the right thing, all of it had been engineered. Someone had studied him the way a fisherman studies water, had identified every current and eddy of his loneliness, and had cast the perfect line. He started seeing a therapist named Dr. Simmons on Thursday afternoons. He hated it for exactly 3 sessions and then couldn't stop going. He texted his brother Jordan, who drove up from Atlanta on a Saturday with no warning and took Tyler to a baseball game and didn't ask a single probing question, just sat next to him in the cold bleachers and ate bad nachos and was present in the way only physical human beings can be present. Tyler rejoined the Model Rocketry Club at his school in the spring. He never went back to Roblox. Here's the part I need you to sit with before you keep scrolling. Tyler walked out of that convention center. He called his mom. He got home safe, but investigators believe at least 2 other kids who were targeted by the same man got into a car at a meeting point. Their cases are still open. We don't have their names. We don't know everything that happened to them. Some stories don't get the ending where someone's mom drives through the rain. The internet can build entire worlds. It can construct a voice, a friendship, a history layered, detailed, warm, and completely manufactured. And the more isolated you are, the more convincing it looks. Not because loneliness makes you gullible, but because loneliness makes you hungry. And someone who has been doing this for years knows exactly how to feed that hunger for months before you realize what you've been eating. If you have a Phantom Rex 77 in your life, someone you've never seen clearly on video, someone who knows everything about you but offers almost nothing in return, someone who keeps gently circling back to meeting in person, I need you to hear this directly. That pull you feel, that certainty that this person gets you in a way nobody physical ever has, that's not connection. That's a hook. Those feel identical from the inside. That's the whole point. Real connection doesn't need you to keep it secret. Real connection doesn't ask you to sell your grandfather's model rockets and board a bus alone and lie to the person who drives 3 hours in the rain for you without a single word of blame. Real connection can survive your mom knowing it exists. Real connection can survive a video call in daylight, tell someone. Not next week, today. A parent, a counselor, a coach, a teacher, any real human being in your physical world who can look you in the eye, because in Roblox, when a server gets deleted, you find a new one, but Tyler almost got into a car, and, in the real world, when that door closes there is no respawn button, stay safe, stay visible, and never let a screen talk you out of your own life.